Ladies and gentlemen, just of the interwebs out there, especially in a very strong style, cinephile in the flash. Let us geek about it for a scant few minutes, because this was a pretty decent episode with some good emotional feels and buttons pushed outside of like one corny moment towards the end, which we'll get to at some point here. Episode started off with bar manager of O'Shaughnessy's. Seemed like he was getting shook down. Next thing you know, he gets deep fried, burned to a crisp, and our primary suspect is the newly paroled Jocko, who is a fire meta. His fire powers are connected to his emotions. If he's kind of mad, upset, or whatever, kind of triggers things. He's the suspect for it. Everybody thinks he's guilty. Barry doesn't think that he's guilty. He believes his story that he's innocent, and Jocko is trying to reestablish, since he got out, trying to reestablish a relationship with his teenage son, make up for time that was missed, and police show up and yank him away, and he's swearing up and down that he's innocent. And it kind of strikes a chord with Barry, who we already know from earlier in the episode that he's kind of feeling some type of way, and it's because it's February 1st. It's Henry's birthday. Henry, of course, is no longer with us. So Barry's feeling lots of things, and then he spends this episode kind of being for the majority of the episode, being the one who kind of believes Jocko that he's innocent, that he's not a murderer, that he just wants to get to his son. I mean, it's your typical story of a guy, of a person, of a character in an instance where they are framed and they swear up and down that they're innocent, yet all their actions that they do keep telling people that they're guilty. Like he escapes from custody, he goes to just take his son by force, end up running into like social services and police, and just kind of making people think that he's guilty. Like I said, pretty typical, easy to follow along plot. They find the evidence eventually and clear his name. His attempt to extract his son from the cop and the social worker triggers some volcanic stuff down below. Flash and him have to team up to stop it. Flash phases down, sends the heat, pressure, what have you, up in the air, the heat, and Jocko absorbs it. And that's where the corniness was, because he was like, let's rock, which is tied to Jocko being like a event security for bands or whatever. So, and the big thing about he was at the bar. He confronted the bar manager because the bar manager was supposed to buy a guitar off of him that he was going to use to buy backstage tickets that he promised his son. Again, he's just trying to be there and make up lost time with his son who thinks he's a screw up. But it was like when that was happening, when the Flash was doing his thing, he comes up, he's like, let's rock. And then he's like yelling, screaming, doing the screamo thing as he's absorbing the heat or whatever. I was like, and they played this music, and it's just, it was corny as can be. Outside of that, it was a pretty good episode that I kind of felt, because in my lifetime, like with my sons, and not having them with me or close to me due to circumstances or whatever, I feel for stories like this where there are fathers who are just trying to do the right thing for their kids, and they're denied the chance through circumstances because of certain people or whatever. Just those stories are easy for me to push my emotional buttons, and make me feel for the story. And if it's executed well, which this actually was, I truly believe this was a good emotional episode, that works for me. And of course, at the end of the episode, everybody's kind of, not everybody, Cecile, Joe, and Iris and Barry, they're sitting on the front stoop of the house, and they're just sharing memories about Henry, and just it makes Barry feel good that people are remembering him, talking about him so positively, and remember him so fondly. And that like I said, just that connection that Barry has with that love that he has with his father, for his actual father, and the love that he showed throughout this entire series for Joe, who became his second father. That stuff it's easy to strike a chord with me, to push my emotional buttons and make me, if you execute it well, make me easily kind of list that amongst like my favorite episodes. It's just, like I said, it's just one of those things when you go through life as a father, and you have, for whatever reason, circumstances, people, what have you, where you are kept from your kids, or you're not close to them because you were kept from them, that sort of thing. It's just, hey, it's stuff that I go through. It's I don't know, it's I don't know how to quantify it. It's just, like I said, this episode just, for me, struck a chord with me. And I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it, for the most part. Outside of the corniness with the whole, and he's like sucking in the heat or whatever, doing the screamo thing or whatever. Outside of that, the team is like, okay, if Jocko didn't kill these people, who did? We have a serial killer fire medic going on, and why are they killing the people? Seemed like, I mean, the bartender and the bar manager are different genders, different races, so it's kind of like, what's their connection outside of just working at the bar? So maybe that's the key. But that's going to be the mission, I guess, going forth in the next few episodes, is finding out who this serial medic killer is. Maybe we'll find out more clues in the next episode. Remains to be seen. Outside of that, you had Allegra and Iris kind of clash at the Central City Citizen Media, because they're doing the profiles on citizens, and Allegra has a whole bunch of people, but this other girl, who is one of Allegra's subordinates, went behind her back, and then to Iris, and then got Iris to want to do the story about this shallow social media influencer or whatever. Turns out that when they go to interview her, which Allegra has a problem with, but she just does what she's told. They go to interview her. Allegra sees somebody else from prison who's kind of struggling, who can't really get a better job because of her record, and she gets inspiration to write a story about her. She does. It's the better story. And Iris tells her, hey, I wanted you to mentor this girl and work with her, yada, yada, yada. So she tells Allegra to go talk to the girl, hash it out, squash it, whatever. Allegra tries. The girl is super mad, and she vows to destroy Allegra and makes comments about, she learned her backstabbing or whatever in prison, yada, yada. But I'm like, bro, you're the one that kicked this off by going behind Allegra's back to Iris. And Iris went along with it, so that, like Allegra said, if they know that they can go behind my back and get their way with the boss, that totally undermines my ability as a supervisor of these people. So it was bad. It was a bad look on Iris. It's probably going to be a worse look because, like I said, the chick vowed to destroy Allegra. I'm sure she's going to fake some stuff or try to stir up some stuff. Iris is going to believe Allegra for like a handful of episodes. Allegra's probably going to quit the newspaper. And then eventually Iris will have to like eat a bunch of crow and then have to pull her back in, apologize, all that. That's the way it's going to go. You can kind of see it, but for me, it was like Allegra was just trying to follow her instincts, which Iris tells her to do, and just do the best story for the publication, which, again, I'm a journalist. I have a journalism background. I have a bachelor's degree in journalism. I was a reporter for over a decade. So I'm all about following your instincts and doing stories that matter to the people. Not just, fluff pieces are okay, sports pieces are okay, art, there's a time and a place for all these kind of stories, but you need to have the stories that resonate with your readers. That's what Allegra was trying to do. That's what the other girl was not so much trying to do. So I'm on Allegra's side in this. Like I said, it was a bad look on this other chick. It was a bad look on Iris, especially to cultivate this backstabbing sort of environment that is now going to have this Allegra and this girl butting heads journalistically and, personally and professionally. And she's going to do some shady stuff that's going to get Allegra hemmed up. I can just see it. But it remains to be seen how it plays out. But that's how I see it. So we'll circle back on to, checking things against my prediction as we go. But other than that, like I said, pretty good episode all around. It's emotional. It was, I like the fact that Barry was so, felt strong in his beliefs, and the rest of Team Flash who didn't. It wasn't one of those episodes where Barry was wrong and Team Flash was right. He had to come and apologize to them or whatever. It just, they were wrong. They took the L, and Barry, the Flash, in his own show, was right and prevailed. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be Barry taking L's all the time to other people, which I think this show has been guilty of a lot over the years, of having that happen. So hopefully that's a sign of good things to come with the rest of the season and next season, which I hope and pray, cross fingers and toes, is the last season, but it remains to be seen. But anyway, those are some of my thoughts on the episode as a whole. What do you guys out there think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me on social media. Talk to me there. Talk to me here. Until next time, let us geek.